All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to the Secret History Living in Your Aquarium Surprise Edition. I have a giant favor by someone I look up to greatly, Joey, King of DIY. Someone who's been a representative and a figure in the hobby, the science, and the retail science, interpersonal end of things, and the high tech cutting edge of things alike. I remember all your plywood tanks and your guides and things that made things accessible when I was broke and a teenager, and when you were getting started, and that actually really helped me out a lot. And as you get older, then I guess you get able to get other things generally, and kind of the hobby progresses from there. But your role in the hobby has been pretty critical and pretty amazing. So thank you for being here.
No worries, brother. My time's tight this month and probably for the next year. So unfortunately, it's gotta most of the stuff's gonna have to be last minute type of deal.
Yeah, no worries. And yeah, so we're doing this on the fly. So just let me know when you got to go or whatever, and that's all good.
Will do.
So first of all, if you guys don't know, which I don't know how you wouldn't, but check out his channel, King of DIY Fish. And he's got a new podcast. You want to give a little spiel about that real quick too?
Yeah, man. I feel like I'm everywhere. I just talk about aquariums and fish tanks, and that's what I've been doing publicly for 13 years. Before that, with the organized side of things, with clubs and whatnot, going through the motions of being on board of directors, vice president, president, doing this stuff a long time. And fortunately, I'm not sick of it yet, because I get sick of things real quick. So
I'm the same way. I'll get into sculpting or painting or working on cars or something. I'll do it for 6 months, get really hardcore into it, and then I'm totally over it and go on to something new. But fish is stuck for 26 years, I guess.
It'd be a lot different if I wasn't on the internet, because when I'm on the internet, I'm constantly having to create for everybody. And if you don't continuously come up with something or do something new and fresh, and people just lose interest, they stop watching, etc. So it's been interesting to keep this keep passionate about certain things. But I think I've found the reason and what's going to keep me going. The last couple of years have been incredibly difficult on me, and my personal life has nothing to do with the hobby, but because of it, it's tough to stay passionate about things. However, recently, I don't know if you've watched any recent videos.
Yeah.
Eventually says, screw it, I'm going to do exactly what I want, how I want, and I don't care if you like it, because I need to do this for me. I hope that you guys enjoy it, but nonetheless, come along for the ride if you want to. I decided I'm going to go back to the way I used to do things. I'm not going to chase or do what the comments want me to do, like set up a new tank. Oh, I don't like that tank, let me do another one. I don't like everything anyway, and it was much different because I went viral on the internet and I didn't really know what to do next.
Right.
If I don't stay the #1 trending video on YouTube all over the world, I fell off type of deal.
Right.
So it's I'm just gonna go back to setting up tanks that are there permanently. I've got fish that I have had for 4, 5, 6 years type of deal. They're all out in the gallery. Tons of fish out there, but for the most part, I've had to, to keep my head afloat and to keep people inspired and that sort of thing, to continuously rotate things and set things. I'm not doing that anymore. I don't care if anybody likes it or not. I'm setting up an entirely fresh new gallery, 5 times the size of what I have now. I'm going to be creating permanent installations. We will witness from beginning till end what an aquarium goes through and what happens over the next 3 years type of deal. And of course, opening it to the public. So it's going to be incredibly interesting. And when I say I'm opening it to the public, you can't come in, hang out, and walk around aimlessly. You'll be greeted at the door by myself. I will walk you through a tour. This will be like you're almost in a video where I educate you on every single aquarium. That's what I was made to do.
Yeah.
And that's been what's missing from my life, is this human contact communication type of deal where I can truly talk about my passions and truly knowledge dump onto you, because, you don't stay where I'm at without knowing what you're doing. But totally get it. I totally understand where I'm making flashy videos, new tank this, new tank that, and I've made it to the point where like not allowing, but like inspired other channels to kind of like copy that that formula of how to create a popular aquarium channel. But I'm like, pump the brakes. I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to see that. They just want to see the new fish and the new tank and the setup and this and that and look how and the music and the editing, and it's so I hate it. And I'm just gonna go back to doing what I want to do and doing what I love. And you know, there's gonna be videos that are incredibly boring,
Good.
Attenborough type style, but you know, I'm gonna dump 20 years of education or experience into it. You know, and that's what I want to do moving forward, and I want to bring it to the public, and you know, we'll see where it takes me. I'm almost 40 years old. I've been doing this since I've been showing my hobby to the public on YouTube since I was 25.
Yeah,
it's a long time.
I mean, yeah, I'm 34, so you know, I found you pretty quickly right after, because I mean, I remember your videos probably right end of high school, early college. I remember thinking you can make a tank out of plywood. That was the one that like got my
make it
attention.
out of wood. It was interesting.
I mean, there was like no one online making videos really. So
well, there's tons of people that have done what I've done before in terms of making a plywood tank. I'm not the first one to build a fish tank or the first one, but definitely the first one to popularize do-it-yourself in terms of like a step-by-step tutorial on how to do this.
Yeah, and the book and everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like YouTube was lacking, was a tutorial step-by-step. And there's like tons of people that could do it better, like can build a plywood tank better than me, or build a glass tank better than me, or build a glass tank better than me, or make a video better than me. But show me, do all of it better than me. I highly doubt that's going to happen. Right. That's where experience comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a long ride, and I mean, there's tons to unpack, or I mean, whatever you want to talk about today, I'm totally open to.
Well,
I've always been an open book.
Well, I really appreciate that. And, you know, part of why I started my channel, like, I mean, I'm sure you're a busy guy, so I don't know how much you know about my channel at all anyways, but it's a nerdy ass channel. Like we pretty much do like, let's see what research papers came out this month on fish in the hobby. Let's read it, the abstract, you know, what does that mean for keeping fish to us, you know? So it's been a slow build as far as viewers, and but it's full of really great community members that are
I think that you just have to find a way to explain it. If you're not growing based off it, people want knowledge, they want education. I still do knowledge dumps throughout my videos here and there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just have to find a way to deliver it. So I always thought, look, I'll get you with the flashy stuff. But when you tune in to watch every video is probably going to have something where you can learn. And every once in a while, I'm going to make an incredibly boring video. So I think what you could potentially focus on in terms of like, and I like to say jamming knowledge down people's throats, because most people don't want to learn, but I need you to learn.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the spread of misinformation starts at the, you know, at the entry level type of deal.
Sure.
So I think if you just found an interesting way to deliver the information to people would digest it easily. I've done it. Yeah,
I mean, you know, the channel, it was real slow going very first. Now this year we've picked up 10,000 subscribers, 20,000 in the last 2 years, really. I mean, before that, my channel didn't do anything for 3 years. You know, it was just more of a vlog. And so it's going places, but I'm not as much concerned with that as leaving kind of, you know, a record. And for when people do have a question that's like, how do you take care of an elephant nose knife fish? Like, that's a really specific fish with some really specific needs. Like, let's get into that, you know, or whatever. And I do have some kind of top 10 bright red fish videos or whatever that are more accessible to anyone. But I like to talk about the history and the people who changed the hobby, as well as the science that we're learning that's changing how we keep fish and things like that. And so, you know, I wanted to talk to you specifically about, I'm of the age, and obviously you are too, probably more so than me, where things like cell phones, the internet, all that kind of stuff was really like, when we were adolescents, I didn't have a cell phone until the end of high school. And that was like the age where, I mean, there were cell phones around, but it just wasn't that as common. And things like, yeah, we had the internet, but it was forums and ICQ and AOL Instant Messenger rather than the way things are now, where you kind of have these plugged in groups and can kind of do all sorts of things. And so I'm just kind of curious, like when you got into the hobby, where did you go for knowledge? You weren't in a giant city. I take
tiny little towns in Nova
Yeah.
Scotia. You know, for me, getting into the hobby and finding information or learning, or was from where everybody does it at first, was your local fish store. But I also went to the library for the first time in my life. Got a library card so I could start renting aquatic related books, which was hard to find. Subscribing to magazines, usually getting their free subscription at first, and then, unable to afford a year's subscription. So, I get 3 months free, and then, I cancel it. Or I don't think you canceled then. You just didn't give them credit card. You have to mail in this card at one point, like mail in this postcard. And then every once in a while, when I would visit my girlfriend at the time's parents, they had a computer in like a computer room. It's like, it's almost like old people always have a computer room.
Oh yeah.
So I went and I'd use their computer, and I found like forums. I didn't know what they were called then, but obviously they were their forums, and it was an entire community. Eventually finding, a local scene where local people were keeping fish, and they had a website as well with a forum, and joining that. And that was a massive, massive eye-opener. For like 2 or 3 years I didn't know this existed. Which, by the way, let's skip back to you mentioning like you've had a slow growing channel. Do you know how long it took me to get 31 subscribers?
I don't, honestly.
3 years. My first 3 years on YouTube it took 3 years for me to get 31 subscribers. There's nothing worse when I hear somebody like yourself. You just said, slow burn 20,000 in 2 years. I'm like, do you know what it took?
Oh, no. I mean, I've been on 5 years.
You guys are growing fast. Yeah. Don't compare yourselves to the bigger channels. Most of them didn't even grow on their own anyways. Most of them purchased their subscribers and or rode the coattails of somebody else.
Sure.
So I found my local aquarium club, and it was a massive eye-opener. For the first time in my life, I finally found people that were just like me. They're incredibly relatable. However, they didn't care about my past or how much money I had or what I dressed like, or they just wanted to see my fish tanks. So it was at that moment that I was able to reinvent myself. I don't have to impress you with other things, or I don't have to talk a certain way. I don't have to do I could just be normal and talk about my passions. So cool.
Yeah.
So I got heavily involved, and that's I just dedicated myself to that. Wanted to get on the board of directors, then became voted into being vice president and then president. And at that time, my club was at a point where you could only be president for 1 year, and you couldn't be president back to back. But during my presidency, I grew our aquarium club to the largest and most popular aquarium club in Canada, period. Nobody could compare. So when my term was ending, I was like, I'm going to go and dump my energy into my channel now. I mean, I'll just hand it over to you guys. And the members didn't want it. They all voted unanimously to dissolve the society and give me the club. So I was like, okay, if you guys want to do this. So I started running it out of pocket. And eventually gave it to 4 girls. The reason why I gave it, because there's a lot of jealousy locally, and there's a few people that wanted to run it and wanted a part. So I was like,
sure.
I don't think you realize what's about to happen if I step back from the local hobby. Not to be arrogant or cocky, but I was like, I don't think you realize how thankless this job is and how much work and sacrifice and effort it's going to take to actually run a local a club locally. So I gave it away. And went
especially
to
out there. I mean,
that's
a challenge. Seattle, it's easy. I've been on the board in the club in Seattle, and there's a ton of great people. There's a bunch of universities with professors that are in the club, and so that's super fortunate. Our club's been here since the early 70s, but I feel like
our club was around for a long time as well and well established, but a lot of people were attached to the old guard and the way things used to work. Yes. And I battled through that even with social media, like companies and clubs, and nobody believed in social media, where I had that insight where I'm like, no, this is the next biggest way that clubs and members and hobbyists are going to communicate. We're living through the largest cultural shift in human history in the way we communicate. Never has there ever been a time in human history has people from our walks of life been able to communicate and watch and digest what's going on the other side of the planet.
Totally.
But I realized that that was happening, and I saw it, and I knew about it. So I invested in YouTube, and I wasn't good at talking. I wasn't good at making videos or editing, but I knew what I was doing. And I realized that if I can explain something in a way that anybody can understand, they'll be able to learn a lot quicker and take control of their hobby and be far better off. So I started going onto social media, started making videos, but I was just uploading random updates on my fish because at the time, all the big channels were about something. I noticed like LA Fish Guy, who was the biggest aquarium channel on the planet years ago. He had 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Unheard of. The next guy down might have been like New York Steel-O or Mr. Saltwater Fish Tank or Dustin's Fish Tanks. And, I was in the mix with my, 300 subscribers after 5 years of videos. But I was like, the reason why these guys are successful is because when I go to Mr. Saltwater Tank, I'm getting those Friday morning quick tips. When I go to New York Steel-O, I'm getting those long drawn out. Everybody was about something, but I wasn't about anything. So I looked at on my channel what was getting the most traction and what most people liked the most. And it was my do-it-yourself video. So I was like, okay, I'll just dedicate myself to that, and I will be a do-it-yourself channel. I didn't set out to be the king of DIY or a bunch of do-it-yourself stuff. The community shaped me and formed me. A lot of people are like, oh, he's the self-proclaimed king. Like, do your research. Spend 3 minutes looking into this. I've said it, I don't know, 80 times now. So I started making do-it-yourself videos, and people started calling me after like 2-3 years of nonstop weekly do-it-yourself videos. They're like, man, you're the DIY king. You're the king of DIY. You're the king. You're the king at DIY. And they're like, I was like, damn, that sounds way better than Waru Joey, or how people pronounced it then. You're Ravu Joey, Ravu Joey, or however they would say it. Tamara's in the room with me. That's why I'm looking at whenever I look over there.
Oh, no worries. Hi.
I find it easier to do this stuff when she's here.
Like, for sure.
Just like having a human with me.
I understand that for sure. I talk to my fish enough.
I talked to a camera for years. So I was like, and even Waru Joey, the name Waru Joey came because Joey was taken, Joey 1-2, et cetera, et cetera. I look at my Waru tank, which is a South American cichlid, Waru amphicanthoids, and I was like, Waru Joey. I was like, oh, available, because I couldn't get into my old accounts where I uploaded videos to share to my club. And then the password was Waru Joey as well. It was the first username and password that I remembered, and that's why I still have this channel. Because at one time with YouTube and every website, it was easier just to create a new profile than to recover your old one.
I mean, I was on YouTube in 06 or 07 when they had the like beta open for people. So I've been like into it. I was a kid who knew tech, but it's just been really cool to watch everything grow and change. I mean, YouTube is such a different beast. Like, I've had my channel for, doing other stuff before fish, like nature walks and mushroom hunting. Talk about boring.
I would never. I'm not into YouTube or making videos enough. I have no passion strong enough to make me jump on video and think that I'm, everybody, the world needs to see this. There's nothing in my life. I've done some cool things, but like nothing that I would share. It was just fish and aquariums that made me want to share it, and because at one point, and here's the reason why I started making videos in the first place and just uploading my random updates. Was at one point, everybody would take pictures and you'd upload it to a forum. But if I did a build, it would take me forever to type it out, upload the videos, and forums would like time out after a while, which means after like 900 seconds or whatever they had it timed to, 8,000 seconds, whatever it's going to be. And sometimes things would take me like an hour to type out, and then I'd hit submit. Lost. It's like the forum refreshes. I was like, what? I was like, you know what? Here's the camera, a 3-minute video updating it, and then that would do. And I just share it and post it. And I used YouTube like you would use Photo Bucket or all these file share places that allow you to host your upload there.
Right.
in order to share it elsewhere. I mean, this is like 15 years ago.
Yeah, like
The internet was
Flickr
a different
and
place.
Photo
Yeah,
Bucket and Image, Angel Fire,
Imager and
all
all
the
that stuff.
yeah.
So, and that's, and that's how I treated YouTube. And the whole Waru Joey was just trying to find somewheres because I didn't care about hacking. There was no money involved. So when people look at YouTube these days, they look at it almost like television, whereas there is money involved. There are ads. But when I got involved, I come from a true, a really honest and clean place from my heart. I started uploading videos for the right reasons and started creating a channel and uploading and taking it seriously for the right reasons. I didn't care about monetization because there was no such thing.
Sure,
there was this partner program, and if you got in, which I applied for 3 years and was denied until the 3rd year, you got a custom banner that you can click things in the banner,
right?
And you could like do your channel a little different, and you could have ads. So when I first got ads, my first check that I ever got from YouTube, I think, was 13 cents. However, when I got those ads, I thought I'm going full time. I'm a full time YouTuber now. This is big. I'm big time now. 13 cents. It wasn't even $1. And then I found out you can't take any money from YouTube until you have $100 or something like that.
Yeah,
$100
they don't
minimum.
even cut you the check or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is anymore. But like, I was like, $100 at this rate is going to take me like the next 13 years. I was like, okay, so I started not caring about it. It was interesting and fun. I was like, okay, well, at least I get the customization. And I didn't care about the money. I just kept uploading. I didn't make a penny off YouTube for like 6 years, 7 years of nonstop dedicated uploads.
Yeah, well, I think that's where you find. I mean, that's where I find the joy in channels like yours. Then, you know what I mean? Is when you see that they're doing it because they want to communicate what it is that they love and care about, what they know about, if you're just hunting algorithms or trying to make the best thumbnail, I get it. Once it becomes a job, it's a double-edged sword. It really is. Yeah. But up until that point, it's something kind of amazing. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today too, is just kind of, I remember when I wanted to breed guppies, I had what was in my area. And then I remember in fish hobbyist magazines, you'd look in the back and sometimes they'd have like the American Killifish Association, and it'd have a number you could write and they'd send you a breeder list or who had what kind of in a newsletter form or whatever it may have been. In the US, that's the way a lot of it was. I don't know if Canada was similar. And that the internet existed at this point, but it wasn't, I mean, we're talking like the year 97 through 2002 era is kind of when I got into the hobby, and then like the first wave of my obsession, and I got into breeding like live bears and bettas and stuff like that. And it's just kind of the way we're learning now, like the way you can just get on Google Scholar and look at scientifically checked articles by peer-reviewed, colleagues in the field, or the way you can look at someone like yourself with 20, 30, 40, 70 years if they're online and they feel like putting up the video of experience. I think it's really amazing, but I'm curious too, like what would you tell someone when they're trying to figure out how to vet, like who should I listen to, like someone new, like how would they pick that out? I mean, in the old days, you had kind of rock stars of, if you're into that scene, you had Diane Wallstead or
she was never really a rock star. She made one. She's not even she's not even like a much of an aquarium hobby. She did write a highly highly intelligent and articulated book, but definitely not like us, like that our lives are driven by aquariums. She definitely wrote a book, but in 20 years, who knows, maybe my book will be considered the same thing. Like, there's nothing like it. So
there's a lot in your book, man. That is I was trying to pull it out, but we were a little short noticed today, but that is a chunky book. I recommend it highly to anybody. Did you self publish that book?
Yeah, I did everything. So you'll see spelling mistakes and everything.
Enjoy. Oh no, that's great. I'm a graphic designer, like by day, artist and graphic designer. So I did 2 adult coloring books before that.
I also wrote it like 6-7 years. Here's what I did.
Yeah.
Alex. I sat down and I didn't move for 3 weeks. I wrote that book in 3 weeks.
Oh,
So
wow.
when somebody wants to say they work hard or they
Yeah.
don't believe I got to where I'm blah 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 blah, I know what it's like to not eat and to put sleep second and 16 hours of nonstop typing.
Yeah.
And so I wrote that book. I sat down and within 3 weeks wrote a 552-page book, went on to be the #1 top-selling book of all time with my publisher, period. In every category, not fish tanks or do it yourself, in every category, period.
Wow.
Number
Wow.
one. And I did that 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember that happened right before I started my channel by, a year or two or whatever. So I do recall that,
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's awesome. I know how hard it is to do the book thing, even with pictures. When I did
It
a
wasn't
coloring
hard.
book,
It was so easy. Because Alex, if I were to ask you about one of your fish tanks without looking at your notes or your photos or your bullet
yeah,
points, if I was new to the hobby, you could explain everything off the top of your tongue
sure.
because you're passionate and excited. And that's what I did with that book. I started with an idea and wrote. I first typed out the index. I was like, if I'm going to
Okay.
do this, I better figure out what I'm going to talk about. And then I just did the
Yeah.
index. After chapter 1, I was like, well, I guess the rest of the chapters will kind of be structured like this. And I just nonstop. And I was a different beast then. I mean, I was only 7 years ago. I was 30 years old, the top of my game. My brain worked differently and faster. And just dumped everything I could into it. And I still go back to this day and read it and look at it and be like, damn, this man was a genius. Like, he's really good at the chapter on filtration was when, like, every 10 minutes I'd get up from my chair and I'd like celebrate how great what I just typed was. It was
So,
awesome. I loved it.
so are you a believer in the kind of like, for me, when I paint, like sometimes you get into a flow state, they call it, where you don't even know necessarily where it's coming from, but like you get into kind of this mode where you're just like, time just melts away and you're kind of just in that groove. Like, I mean, do you feel that way about the hobby and about like when you're building something or working on something? Like, what, like almost like a universal muse or something out there that you can't put your finger on? Maybe it's in your head, who knows? But I mean, I guess it's almost like a manic state, but not
Oh, I am
with
manic. I
no.
mean, before we move any further, Alex, I have depression, anxiety. I
Yeah,
am bipolar. I do get manic at times. I do,
sure.
crazy things. But if you want to do what I'm doing, you almost have to
Well,
have those
yeah.
mental disabilities. And I don't think they're disabilities at this point.
No,
I
you
feel
can
like they're my superpowers.
you've clearly channeled them. Yeah, yeah. No, and I'm the same
Yeah.
way. I mean,
If you can channel the things, your negativity or anything into the right direction, you just got to be careful because when you're on that path, a lot of people are going to try to pull you off that path. They don't like to see you go that way. They want you to come to them and feel miserable with them. So you got to be careful. You have to be careful. And I have a dark past, and and not to sound biblical or anything, but I always feel like the devil's on my shoulders trying to get me to do the wrong thing. And not necessarily, I don't hear voices, like I'm not like crazy or nothing, but like I always feel like, I'm prone to do something negative and I blame it on, I'm predisposition to that, or this is what I was meant to do, or
well,
I always question where my success, and like I'm not supposed to be here. For the majority of my childhood and teens, I was told I wouldn't live till I was 25. I was told, constantly, and I believed it.
You and I have the very similar, just from watching your videos. I'm sure it's completely different in many ways, but I was a black tar heroin, prescription pills, half a gallon of alcohol from morning until 2 a.m. Bad addiction, bad depression, anxiety, for years and years. So I mean, sober 12 years now, but I mean, I've been through similar things, hanging out with the wrong people. Most of my friends are dead from that period in my life and from high school, so I can easily say that this hobby helped save my life.
Well, I've always said, and I've said it a number of times, and it's based off, it's not a warm, fuzzy feeling and that I wish this was the truth, or that, I'm guessing. This is based off actual experience and actual DMs and being exposed to hundreds of and even millions, hundreds of millions of people over the past few years. And what I've always said was, in my opinion, the hobby is made up of 80% of people with tattered past or troubled past, or 10%. Then so 80% is like people like us with like a story to tell.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that you all were into drugs or you were a criminal. Maybe, you know, you
Chronic
have some sort of,
PTSD.
you have something traumatic happen that the average person could never survive through. And then 10% is definitely made up of cops, police, people in authoritative situations. And then
want to play God.
And then the final 10% is normal people.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I have found, in my opinion. And then when I tell my story, that's why my video on how the aquarium hobby saved my life. I was in a position where I was getting blackmailed, and people were like telling, "Oh, I'm going to tell the world who you really are." I'm like,
really?
No, I'll do it first. I'll just tell them, because I know for a fact that there's so many people out there that are just like me and need to hear it from somebody in my position that can say, you are truly and actually are not alone. Because I've heard that all the time. Like from people that, oh, you're not alone, and you're not. I am alone. Yeah, I do feel alone sometimes, but I do realize that some people do look at me like I'm their idol or I'm their hero or something. So, and they're going through some stuff, but they think I probably, you know, had a great upbringing, and, you know, I know my mom and dad, and, you know, I never had any issues or anything. But when they heard my story of like, we are equals, we're the same, and I got to where I am because I stopped caring what other people thought about me, and I got away from all the poison in my life. That's when a lot of other people, a lot of people that relate to me, probably felt a lot better. I don't know if they're still in the hobby anymore or if they still are, and it doesn't matter to me. I just know that video had a incredibly positive impact. And if you go look at the comments, or you go see whatever it is about it, et cetera, I know that I'm a polarizing figure. I know that I'm controversial. I knew that years ago, if I were to appear on camera, I'm going to give people something not to like about me. Look at Food the Flower Horn. Do you think he'd be as successful if he appeared on camera?
Yeah, he's never on camera.
Yeah. Do you know who talks about him? Creators. Hobbyists don't mention him.
Yeah.
Hobbyists don't really know who he is, because his core audience is like people outside of the hobby. Creators talk about him because we don't understand it. Like, hey, how big did he get? Why did he get that big? I get it. I understand. You figured out a way in the algorithm. But do you think he would be nearly as popular if he appeared on video and he showed his personality and he was able to, you know, inspire people with that sort of thing? Absolutely not. No way at all, period. And he's talked a few. I'm not trying to disrespect him or nothing.
No. You bring up a really interesting point, though, because charisma can raise you up and drop you down just as bad.
So when people when they're like, oh, a lot of people don't like Joey, good. I'm happy a lot of people don't like me, because a lot of people, on the flip side, you can say a lot, but what's a lot in comparison to the people that do like me? I'm glad
millions.
I'm glad you don't like me, because it tells me that I have a personality. It tells me I'm doing something right if I rub somebody the wrong way.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I'm not being phony and fake. I can't begin to tell you top 10 YouTubers in the aquarium industry. They are not like that in person. They do not talk like that in person. They did not get to where they are based on the stories they're telling you. And a lot of them don't want to be friends with me no more, because they're worried.
Yeah.
It is what it is, though.
Well, and I have to say, you know, there's people that I have met. There's people. Well, I'll just say it this way. I grew up in the same town, same high schools as Corey from Aquarium Co-op. So you don't have to tell me that much. You know.
Say it again. What did you say?
I grew up in the same town. We're from the same town. He's like 2 years older than me, and we went to the same high school. And
you know why you don't like you? You know, one of the first thing I ever said to him in person was,
I don't.
I was on a tear that day. I showed up to an event nobody knew I was going to. I don't go to the events for, you know, fluff my ego. I told nobody. Spent the $3,000 to fly there and book the flights, but I had to confront some people that continuously make videos, etc. Like, where's that energy, bro? But he was one of them. And the first thing I ever said to him, I don't care what he says. I literally don't, because it's all true. It's factual, and I'll upset some of his fans, etc. I don't care. It's true. It's proven. I said the first thing I ever said to him, meeting him for the first time, was, and he doesn't like it because he wants what I got. He wants to be like Joey.
Oh, definitely. He's an ambitious dude.
He's in behind the scenes trying to get Aquashella to cancel me. Like not come, and they're like, why? Like, no matter what Joey did, it wasn't as bad as you're just being opportunistic. Anyways, I said to him, the first, without me there would be no you. And he hated it, but it's truthful. Bro, you what, you doing the thumbnails like me now? You doing my titles, you copying my content, you uploading minutes right after me, trying to get into my recommended. You're in my DM sliding, trying to get me to promote you, etc. I know what's up. I don't care. Do your thing, but don't pretend you're what's his name? What's this social media guru? He got everybody fooled anyways. I'm over here all alone and I can talk like that. I don't care.
Well, I mean,
Gary Vaynerchuk, that's what he thinks he is.
Oh.
And when I knew he's biting me, I was like, I said some things on Facebook and it was based on my experience and it was my words. And then he started saying it in YouTube. I was like, bro, why can't you just come up with your own stuff?
Well, you remember him and Dustin had a tiff too, and that was
Dustin's a coward for that. And Dustin, the first event I ever went to was with him, and we shared a room. But yeah, I remember that too. Corey wanted to do a collab with Dustin. Dustin was like, "You're gonna have to pay me," because nobody takes Corey seriously as a hobbyist. He's really good at being an extra in his own videos, like hiring somebody to film, hiring somebody to edit, and then like filming other people's accomplishments. Those go crazy. Good for you, bro. But you're an extra in your own channel.
He's got a great editor.
Yeah, Jimmy's cool. First time I ever met Jimmy, he's like,
nice guy.
First time I ever met Jimmy, he's like, "Yo, Joey, can I get a selfie with you?" I was, "Of course, my man, of course." He's like, "Oh, I want to do this, but I don't care if it makes Corey mad." I was like, "What do you mean make Corey mad?" I was like, "He's talking smack behind the scenes because he don't talk to me like that. Like, if you got issues, just say it. Don't be so weird and cowardly about it." Well, like, let's watch this.
I'll say I haven't said it in a couple years, but the first exchange after Corey became popular on YouTube. So not when he just started his shop and I'd stop in and I'd get fish and I was nobody. I was just a local Joe Schmo. But when I had a little channel and I said, "Can I film in your store?" And he said, "Yeah, that'd be fine, but I want to kind of maybe chat, promote some things or whatever." But he said, "As far as you coming on my channel or you being in my videos, you're either so small that you're irrelevant or you're big enough that you're my competition. And either way, I don't have time for you." And
he's whoa.
Yeah.
He said this?
Yeah.
Piece of shit. That's what I'm saying. I don't want no beef. Here's why I don't want beef.
That was 3 or 4 years ago. So Alex, this is like a while back now.
I love beef. So a lot of people that have made videos about me and stuff, I've confronted them in person. I shut my mouth down and I've met them in person and they tear up. Like, I'm like, say the things that you said about me right now. Because calling me names and pretending you're crying on video.
He's been respectful to me, but he's been harsh. But
I don't want to be crazy with him because he's not gonna. He'll do something on the internet, but he won't be like that in person.
No.
And he's trying to get me canceled from Aquashella. I'm like,
really?
bro. I was like, the only reason I can't go is because of COVID, mind you. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go too deep. I'm not gonna go too deep into.
No, it's okay. You don't need.
He built himself off of like ripping off, and he's like, "Oh, I'm all about the little creators." All you did was use them. You made them promote you for a few bucks. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, you can hate me all you want because I got drunk on Instagram. In 13 years, that's what I did. That's my worst thing ever. I got drunk a couple times on Instagram during COVID. Like, come on. That's it. Dig deeper, bro. There's way worse than when I'm before YouTube.
Well, I mean, especially when you're creating content. I mean, think about movie stars or whatever. People who are social figures, politicians, they have to do these events however often. Yeah. When you're creating content on social media,
nobody was filming events. Nobody was filming events before me. I popularized that genre, going to events and doing the speaking, and I showed the entire industry. No company wanted to give any creator money besides free product if you completely sold out, until I showed everybody that we are the influencers, not magazines, not websites. We are. Nobody's going to have an impact on your company like we will. And these events, I was like, oh, you want to put in, because I'm telling you, when a company goes to an event, and I'm not trying to Tache, but when they go to an event, they're dumping in 10,
Oh, yeah.
20, 50,000, 80,000, but they want to make you, but you've been working on your channel for so long, 5, 10 years.
They want to give you a free tank,
a free tank or a free filter. And the last time that was ever done to me, I was like, okay, great. What do I do? Divide this up for my children. We can all eat it. I was like, I got bills to pay. I can't feed them a free filter. Listen, the stuff that they send you is just props for the video. They have to pay you. And then, I mean, being a YouTuber and creator is not just all about money, but you got to make money to pay the bills so you can continue to keep doing this. Only makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that.
You gotta be careful with these conversations, though, bro. You have no idea how far down the rabbit hole I can go. I've been doing this a long time. I've got insiders experiences, stories for days on everybody, and everybody gets stories on me. But I guarantee a lot of them that don't talk to me all burned me. I don't do anything to anybody, and I'm generous and I'm kind and I'm nice to everybody until they burn me. So if a content creator doesn't talk to me, ask them for the whole story. Ask them what really happened. Yeah.
Well, I don't think most people give a straight answer with those kind of things anyways, but
I don't care.
I think, but I think you bring up a really interesting point in that, what did people used to pay for a full page newspaper ad? Even in just Seattle's market, it used to be $1,000 for any day of the week for a full page ad when newspaper was the thing, and now, what is it $1,000 a post on Instagram for influencers? If for every 100,000 people they have, that is for like food bloggers and things. That's the average.
Yeah, I got to backtrack just for 2 seconds, Alex. And the reason why I'm passionate and upset about certain creators that copy and rip off other people.
Yeah, sure.
I don't care if he does it to me. I never got mad. I handled him in the DMs, so he can expose my DMs of me saying mean things of him. And good, remind me of what I forgot about. I don't care. It's when creators like yourself are trying to grow and trying to do things, and he's got live stream. He's like, whenever I run out of ideas, I just go in Joey's comments and copy whatever, blah blah blah. I was like, bro, what the frig? But yeah, so when he makes, well, for example, I'll give an example of my buddy Chris Biggs and then that extreme foods video he made. He went to the farm. It was his part of a story. He was involved. He was invested with that. Corey went behind the scenes and he called the company. He's like, yeah, Chris Biggs told me that we can come down there and film. No, Chris didn't. Instead of Chris getting the credit and the attention and the traffic from making that type of video, Corey had to steal it because that's what he does. That's what he does. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of little creators looking up at big guys and putting us on the same pedestal. Like, I'm not like him. You don't have to like me, and you don't have to like what I'm saying, and you can call me arrogant, cocky, don't know what I'm doing. I don't care. At least I'm original. I can do what he does. I can open a store and copy everybody. You can't do what I do because you tried it. You couldn't. You had to resort to like hiring people to do everything for you. This video is just, I'm sorry for being negative and stuff, but you bring things up, bro, and you want to go down a rabbit hole. I'll put on my bunny ears.
I mean, as long as you're okay with it, my subscribers might be like, whoa, what? Like, Alex is taking off the gloves a little bit here and entertaining this, you know what I mean? Because I generally don't upset the apple cart unless it's something like catch 'em all fishing or something like,
he'll get busted eventually.
I see something, I'm like, that's just straight up animal abuse.
Animal abuse is what you're worried about?
No,
it's the underage girls that I'd be.
Well, yeah, about. Exactly. I mean, there's a million.
You know about that?
I know a lot about that. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot about a lot of people that people don't assume I know, but I mean, I keep in touch. Like, now I've been keeping in touch with Rachel. She chats with me. We nerd out about stuff. Or, just Lucas Bretts, or just various people in the hobby that I've known and gotten to know that people don't think know things. But of course they're, I've got friends all over the country. And so
mostly creators. But I mean, if I make videos about this type of thing, or
you start to hear things after a while.
If I respond to the videos made about me, etc. Yeah. All I do is bring them, platform them and stuff. And for what? To prove the facts? Like, just do a little bit of research. People love, what people love to see? They love to see somebody climb and get to where, the clouds, but they really, really like to watch them fall too. And
then the redemption, and then the mediocre D-list rise again, It's yeah, no, and so what's interesting about all these discussions, all this talk, is that people might not understand how much politicking and I don't know,
I think that like
ass kissing, I guess.
But a lot of ass kissing. I think that like too many people are worried about catching me or being like me or anything like that. And then when I switch things up, they're screwed because now they have to try to adjust to what I'm doing. Or I'm like, bro, just do what I did 10 years ago and create your own identity and go from there. Who cares? I don't watch other aquarium channels. I check in on a few friends here and there, but don't watch their videos. It's too influential. It's too inspiring. You're going to start talking like them, making videos like them, instead of discovering something for yourself. The only thing that I've done, and the reason why I exploded 2 years ago, was I created a new genre within our genre of vlogging. Is closer to 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But
yeah, I was gonna say it's been a little while now.
And then everybody realized, okay, this is the new way to do things. And now I got to switch it up again because it's tough to get attention when everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, I don't have a problem with it because great, if they're passionate about it. There are so many channels with 500 to whatever 5,000 followers, or subscribers. But if they stick at it and keep making content at the rate that they did to get to that level, even, then that's great to me. You know what I mean?
I don't think even the top 10 largest aquarium channels are the best potential aquarium channels.
No, I would have
top
to
50.
I would probably have to agree with that. Yeah. No.
So it's interesting to.
I mean, there's incredible professors like Ian Fuller with all this Corridora research and stuff. Like he knows all those species that are coming out. He's got a channel with like I think 200 subscribers. You know what I mean? And they're all other professors pretty much, or some people at fish clubs that happened to see him talk and were like, oh, he has a channel. Okay, cool. And so that's kind of another thing that like in the hobby you have this new generation. I feel like first we had to come up against big box stores. So we lost almost all of our local fish stores in my area.
I'll be right back, Alex.
Yeah, go for it.
You can
Hi.
Talk to Tamara.
It's okay. I can chat with the audience too. If you want to chat.
I mean, yeah, if you have anything for me to talk about, I'll talk. But you can also talk to your audience if you want to do that too.
No, it's all good. Do you want to introduce yourself to the audience though?
I'm Tamara. I'm Joey's girlfriend.
All right.
So yeah, that's.
And you work with the podcast too, then, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Co-host.
So.
Yeah.
How is that still going, or are you guys?
We've taken
shifting
a break.
Okay.
Because of the new gallery, and he didn't want to spill the beans too soon. But now that it's out, he did a podcast by himself the other day, and then I think we'll start to continue those again once we get the studio moved and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I was wondering because I saw some of the people he had on, like Sean Pektek, and I know Sean. I'm friends with Sean. I love Sean. So I was kind of surprised, and I was like, oh, right on. Like really interested to see who he had on. So I was curious what direction that was going to take. But then when I saw that the gallery was happening, when he made that announcement, I was like, holy cow, how many things can this guy do at once?
Yeah.
So that's cool though that I've appreciated your influence on the podcast. So I think
it's been podcast was interesting. Podcast was all filmed in the same week. I was going through my final steps in my divorce settlement. And on Monday was my court appointment, yet all through the week prior, I filmed every one of those podcasts. So I had to, knowing what's on the back of my mind, try to make those podcasts and stuff. But they were incredibly inspiring. Like, it made me realize that people don't like fake. They'd rather just hear it real. Because at the end of the day, like, the more you show it yourself, the less likely, you are to fail. And the reason being is because eventually everybody slips up. Eventually everybody is going to act like they're self somewhere.
Right.
And if a lot of people don't like it, you're going to see this massive dip. But if you're always just actually genuine.
Yeah. If
So,
you're always yourself, there's.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. You know, I was just saying though that I saw that Sean, you know, Peck Tech was one of your guests, and I was like, interesting choice, because he happens to be one of my like real life friends. You know, I really appreciate Sean, you know.
Yeah.
And I think he's a creative creator in like a cinematic
I think he's
sense.
original. You'll notice that. Well, I got some creators on there too, because I'm actually friends with them, etc. And then a couple others was like to actually confront them, like, let's have a conversation. Why do you keep saying this? That literally never ever once ever happened ever. Why do you keep talking like this? Because I think a lot of people like to create these beefs with me, like to be affiliated in that way. And I'm like, bro, I've never met you. I don't even know you.
Yeah, it's easy to tag your name. You know, any famous person, you know, whatever, or Tekashi 6ix9ine, whoever's hot that week in the news too. It's easy to just
him.
I think he's funny. I mean, he was never some hardcore gangster. He was always just a kid on the internet pushing buttons, you know.
Well, I mean, the whole snitching and ratting stuff, and you're not a real gangster and that sort of thing. He kind of put it into perspective, because when he went to jail, everybody stopped talking about him.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, I told on everybody, because you don't care either way. I'm going to jail for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
You're not even going to remember me. I'm like, if I'm facing 40 years, I might say something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Especially when they put a hit out on him.
Yeah, I'm not going for 40 years and, you know, stole from me, robbed me, banged my wife, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, but at the same time, he's only small and chubby.
Oh,
like, bro, careful, because somebody's going to get you eventually. Stop jumping in that crowd, too.
I know, man. That's a whole other thing. But I mean, it's an interesting time, like with I try to keep, so like I'm trying to kind of keep it relevant, but I love talking about just whatever comes up too. You know what I mean? But
I don't mean to like give too many people and say their names and stuff and blah blah blah.
No, I don't care. I mean,
the fact of the matter is this,
your words are yours, mine are mine. So you feel free to say whatever it is you want to say. You know what I mean?
I mean,
people know that. So
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not making no videos about people over here. I don't like cause anybody trouble or problems. I stick to myself. I do my own thing. My personal friends appear in my videos. I collabed with like over 30 or 40 channels at this point, maybe more, 50. Well, if we count outside of YouTube, and doing these sort of things, I do them all the time. I just don't have time to do it with everybody, you know, but I don't care if you have 20 subscribers. I've done collabs with like people that have 100. Like, I actually care, and go ahead and clickbait my name and do whatever you want and get them views, get it. Like, that's what I'm here for. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm actually here for. Like, I'm not like, you know, a ATM for views. I mean, because sometimes my name hits, sometimes it don't. I mean, if we did this 2 years ago, it would have been, you know, a lot differently. But I think ultimately that everything comes full circle, and I think that like a lot of the channels and stuff, and a lot of the people that built themselves off and built themselves off their channels off of other people's coattails, it's all going to come full circle. I could extradite some stuff if I actually made a video, because it's different when I make a video. When I talk about something and I explain something and I got the receipts.
Well, right,
different.
Especially if you got texts or emails or, you know, whatever.
I don't kiss it. I'm not a pillow talker. I'm not showing texts and emails. I don't do that sort of thing. Like,
you're not that level. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, to me though, it's just
that's when somebody shows my text and stuff, I expect we're probably going to end up like fist fighting.
Yeah.
Like, if you bring it to that level, if you want to get dirty, I'm like, oh, so it's on site with you. Okay.
Green light. Yeah. No, I mean, so, you know, but I'm just, you know, I'm torn on like certain, where, you know, I gather things to me, like I did a video, and my favorite videos usually don't get the best engagement, which is fine. But the people who have been my long-term viewers and things, they tend to watch those videos, and they tend to stick around because I keep making them. You know what I mean? Like, like I did a video on how to research. like how to look up if something's true. Like, don't just go to Wikipedia or Google, like how to actually track down and, you know, peer-reviewed articles on something as near as we can find out that it's true right now. Because this hobby,
there's no way to tell. Well, when somebody says, especially when it comes to YouTuber, if they continuously say, in my opinion or in my experience, like a few times in a sentence, but that's just my opinion or in my experience, and I don't, that's when you stop watching. Because they know what they're about. They're saying that to protect themselves. Like, oh, I was just sharing my opinion, or that. No, that's just what happened in my experience. So a lot of people do that. I remember watching this. I sent this video. Somebody had brought in this massive clown loach, and they're like, in our experience with importing fish, all you need to do is quarantine them for 3 days.
What?
This is a wild collected fish.
What?
And then they added it to their like 800-gallon tank or whatever, because Joey had a big tank. So they had to get a
I know who
tank.
you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Joey would stand in front of the tank like this, so he had to stand in the front, and that whole thing. I was like, ugh.
And those are benthic fish that eat, like, you know, they're detrivores partially. So they're just full of worms and parasites.
So I mean, then that tank was exploded in ick, but that went on the second channel. Like, stop. And then in another video, talk about like, oh, you know, Joey didn't know how big red-tailed catfish get. Next thing you know, it got big and he had to get rid of it. No,
you had a plan for it.
That's what. Like, let's read your comments, bro. Everybody knows that I got the red-tailed catfish to show you specifically how big they get and how quickly. And if you insist, here's how to build. What did I do? A 1,500-gallon pond or something, or 1,200-gallon plywood pond?
Didn't you build that one next to the other one?
Yeah. And I'm like, this is, if you insist, this is how you properly do it. You don't sit there and feed hot dogs and bread either. I had to do a video about that, because a lot of times what a lot of people do, they'll try to like bring you down to try to make themselves look better. And a lot of people that they're educating just don't know the difference. So they just assume this is the accurate and correct information.
Right.
And a lot of times I feel like it's my responsibility. Sometimes I don't do it a lot, but I'll make a video that is like slighted towards that information.
So I, you know, then I have a question too. So like, you know, say you didn't, because I mean, do you, well, I should ask this, I shouldn't assume, but do you feel as though, because of your rank in this new ecosystem of popular, if you want to call it that, being popularity in the hobby and media in the hobby, which really didn't exist other than, like, you know, you got like Axelrod, you know, like controlling like aquarium, you know, tropical fish magazine, and like, you know, or
I don't know, bro. Did you ever look into him?
Yeah, he's an asshole.
You like do your research.
Do your
research first.
He's a total asshole. Yeah. But I'm just saying, there's like 50 fish named after him. Clearly, everyone kissed his ass, and you know, the same thing happened in a different format before. History repeats itself, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a reason why there are 50 Agassiziis in all sorts of different species. You know, there's a Swiss taxonomist that was a rich guy who was,
a lot of it was political, and it still is. Like, who got to publish a book at one point was who had the right connections,
right? Totally.
Who was friends with who and who knew what. Because I was like, I read some of these books, I was like, who wrote this? Did my 3-year-old do this work? Is this Haley's work? Her first book she ever wrote? It was pretty bad. But then the further and further I got in behind the scenes and connected within the industry, it was like, oh, this is all about who you know and who you're willing to blow, not about how great and how smart or how successful or how charismatic you are. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to not necessarily teach them a lesson, but I'm going to take matters into my own hands, and I'm going to become more influential than a magazine, than a website, than et cetera, and not necessarily more. And I didn't intend to do it that way. It's just that I believed in what I was doing wholeheartedly, and I was willing to sacrifice and give up absolutely everything to be there. Because, like you said, at one point things were controlled by who you knew and who, you know, how much money you had and what you were willing to do. And
well, there's been these phases where the gatekeepers kind of got obliterated by the internet, and then new gatekeepers form, you know?
Yeah.
or forums are popular and then new forums form, or new, same thing happens with YouTube. New people get on top, So I'm curious though, is there anybody right now that you feel like is doing something that you would really like to elevate, or you see as the future of the hobby? Or is there something you're doing that you feel like is something you feel like the hobby is moving towards, or could be?
I'll start with your first question.
Okay, sorry. I know those are broad. Yeah.
That's fine. I think that everybody's too worried about what I'm doing and trying to be the next king of DIY instead of being the next them. They're too worried and trying to replicate my success and ride my coattails to the point of they're never going to have an identity, and they're going to run out of content and ideas. And I know a lot of content creators, and I'm not friends with them, but I'll give you an idea of somebody that I don't mind. I talk to him. I don't watch his videos. MD Fish Tanks. I mean, he built his channel off of Foo the Flower Horn and then me, just trying to replicate our success. You've only been in the hobby for 2 years, and you've been making videos for 2 years. You're going to crash, and you're going to crash hard. This doesn't end well for you. But when you make a ton of money, none of that stuff matters. I think that people are not worried about the future of the hobby. I said this 5 or 6 years ago at it was a round table in Maryland, I think it was. It was in front of a club or whatever, and people were talking about the future. And I said I was so terrified for the future of the hobby. And they're like, "Why?" I said, "Because people like me are running it." Because people like Paul Cafaro is who you look up to. He doesn't know how to tie his shoes, let alone keep a fish properly. You're looking at YouTubers and social media people as the people. I was like, I'm terrified of what the hobby is going to look like in 10 years.
Right.
And like, people can get mad at me for talking like this all as much as they want, but I have to. I have no choice. If I don't do this, and if I don't talk in sort of a certain way, and if I don't provoke warnings or different types of thoughts, or maybe somebody's finally like, you know what, I'm going to take control of this and start making videos, and maybe I'll get, I know what I'm talking about, et cetera, et cetera. That's all I'm trying to do. But if I don't do anything and I just sat back and I was like, no, I'm friends with everybody and everybody's great, and that's not the truth. And the future of the hobby is grim if we don't figure things out, because scientists aren't popular. People that are exploring natural habitats aren't popular. I know, like, YouTubers will go into the Amazon and take some videos of other people catching fish and stuff and be like, I've been to the Amazon. Shut up. I don't go to the Amazon because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get eaten alive by bugs
I'll die
just to get a few little pictures and videos. Yeah. I'm not making a real impact or change. That's just a pat on the back type thing. Like, look at me and how diverse I am. Now I can do a talk on the time I visited the Amazon. It's just bullshit. I've been doing this too long to not see this.
Well, you know what? That's why I like the channel. Like, I don't know if you've seen like Dexter's World or like Meekolj, who live down in those areas. Like the people who are doing it. You know what I mean? Who don't give a shit.
They don't get the attention.
No, they don't get the attention. But that's who I watch.
But then they look at people like me and they're sick of it. They're sick into their stomach.
Right.
And so we never connect.
I know, and I feel like
so I have to talk to like, I gotta. Well, this is what I try to do. But when I talk like this, people get mad and offended and look how arrogant and cocky he is. Oh, he's talking about numbers again. You have no clue what I'm doing and why I'm talking like this and why I'm so invested in the future of the hobby and what's about to come. And in 5-10 years, what's going to happen to our hobby? It's going to be run by idiots.
Like Idiocracy style.
Yeah. Just idiots. You could dress it up and put some whipped cream and a little cherry on top, but I'm calling them idiots.
Sure.
You're just more political than I am. Well, you're not that political because you got some hidden gems in you. And it'd be interesting to hear who like Alex knows what I'm talking about too. Let's move on. No, I mean, like, you might have like, so what do you think the future of the hobby is? Because I get asked that all the time, and I say it's grim if we keep going the way we are.
I think
if we don't have documents and if we don't have studies done, if we don't have backed information, because I could technically get on video and say whatever I want. It doesn't even have to be remotely clear or remotely true or accurate. And everybody, for the most part, is going to believe it.
You know what? Thank you so much for bringing up that point, though, because that's why I wanted to talk to you. Not because I believe what you're saying. I mean, you say good stuff generally when you're talking about fish, right? I give you that. But I am fascinated by this change of the influence, the internet, for better or worse. Yeah. How quickly knowledge can just become crap.
Let me put this into perspective. This is not a new idea for me. This is not, oh, Joey just feels like that today.
Sure.
Can we search YouTube and find out who talked about Rachel O'Leary before she started making YouTube videos? Everybody talks about her now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Nobody talked about her before. I knew what was happening. So
or Tom Barr, someone who's still...
he's not a YouTuber, I don't think.
No, he's not. But I mean,
here's why I got here's why I got Rachel to start making videos. I wanted to do two things there. One, we need a larger female presence in the hobby, and two, YouTubers need a far more credible source of information. Period. That's why I begged her for months. You have to start doing videos, and she didn't want to do it because, like most people from the old guard and the organized side of the hobby, don't respect social media influencers. They have no choice these days in terms of social media. That's how they're communicating a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a rough road, and I had to get her to start making videos. I had no choice.
She said as much to me too when she came on the channel last month.
Yeah,
she said Joey bugged me until I finally did it. So I'm glad you did.
She's putting it kindly. It was brutal. I can't believe she's still my friend. It was bad at times when she wasn't making daily video or like making consistent videos. I get at her. I get after her and get after her and get after her. You know, she's going through some life changes now, so a lot of things for YouTube with her and stuff will be you know, different for her and whatnot. And I find that people that are heavily involved in YouTube. No, because it wouldn't apply to everybody. I think that like people like Rachel and I that did the hobby for an actual long time, like a couple of decades, and that, you know, took YouTube seriously. A lot of it's because, and the reason why we're able to put so much time into it is because we just weren't happy with our personal lives. And so now you see a dip in her presence on YouTube as well as mine, because finally, after so many years of a decade of making videos, I found happiness in my personal life.
Well,
and I'm distracted.
That's a very interesting point too, in that, you know, whether it's PTSD, whether it's anxiety, depression, chronic pain's another one that I deal with and that I know a lot of people deal with in the hobby, you know, but the hobby for a lot of people is the escape, and YouTube became the escape, especially this last year. I think I found a lot of people floating around YouTube who were just stuck at home because of the virus, and they're just, you know, they felt trapped and bored and at wit's end and reached out to something new. Even some of the old guard, like you're talking about. So I almost wondered if it would start a revitalization. When COVID, before it had even come here, I was putting up videos saying China doesn't shut down for anything. When they shut shit down, you better be paying attention. When they shut down 20 million people, like something bad's coming down the pipeline. And so literally from a fish point of view, I was like,
there's more than 20 million people in China.
No. Wuhan, when they shut down Wuhan, like in January of last year. Yeah, the videos are still up, but in any case, I was like, start breeding neon tetras, because we'll probably won't have any imports by April or May. And it was the best year I've ever had breeding nanofish, as making money in the hobby that way. But it's changed things. It's changed the landscape. A lot of small channels have started in the last year because people had time. A lot of people, the local stores I know, have had way more money spent lately. They're not hurting because of COVID.
So most creators are complaining that the views are not there. There's just so many people doing it now, and they're doing it. I just wish things were like, I wish somebody would pop out with a incredibly creative and unique channel, but nobody wants to take risks. Even when I change the way I edit, or like, I'm constantly taking those types of risks and constantly, you know, putting myself out there and knowing that I'm on the chopping block every time I make a video. But I always thought that, you know, I know that I inspire a lot of other creators, but I always thought I'd inspire them to take more chances creatively. And it's just not happening. I think that as soon as money got involved on YouTube and monetization, it's well, money ruins a lot of things.
Well, okay, so this is another thing I wanted to talk about, because I talk about this on my channel and I get a lot of shit for it. I don't even usually swear on my live streams that much, just to try to keep it whatever. But here we go.
That's why I say when people
we're laying it out tonight.
Everybody's to an extent phony.
Right.
We have to, because in person we would curse up a storm. I'm a sailor at heart.
Right.
Like, I'm from Nova Scotia. I'm surrounded by water. This is what we do is curse, but I have to tone it down on video.
Pacific Northwest, salmon fishing, deadliest catch. That's my hometown, but where all the boats are.
And I have an aggressive nature and, an assertive way of talking, and I can rub people the wrong way. And I got to be careful because, on video, I've got to give them the best of me. But that's why I've said, like, everybody is kind of fake on YouTube.
Sure.
It's the way it is. We have no choice. What are you going to go to a job interview and be like, F this, F that? No, you give them your best side.
Show up in your pajamas.
Yeah, that's all it is. So when people see me live like this or on podcasts, they're so surprised and taken back.
Yeah.
That's the way everybody is.
I don't think the people, at least, so something, though, that I talk about is the impact of, and it sounds kind of crazy, but capitalism and the notion of you always got to come up with something to keep a hobby growing. And so for companies, from a company point of view, there is not incentive to sell you a light bulb that lasts 100 years, even if you pay $400 for that one light bulb. They want disposable, it's built into products. Same with fish products. There aren't the filter cartridges that come with a filter are like a joke with the charcoal and the whatever crap they have. And then every 30 days you should change it. The scam or game or whatever you want to call it that is so big in the hobby. But to grow as a company, like what can they do? You know what I mean? When when legally they are required to make the most money for their stakeholders, if they're a publicly traded company or a corporation in general. And so when I hear people who own a company and they say, I'm trying to do this because I want to make the hobby better, it's not compatible with capitalism all the time.
People aren't going to make the hobby better. I haven't seen a channel that's actually wholeheartedly actually trying to. Well, everybody has their own. It's one thing. So here's what you should do as a smaller channel: fucking cherish it, because it doesn't get any better than right now. You can actually get away with saying, I love what I'm doing and I'm doing it to have an impact, but you're getting into the numbers where you're probably making a few $100 a month or maybe a few grand. Who knows?
I'm pretty transparent. I'm making a few grand a month.
Yeah. I know channels smaller than me that make twice as much money as I do.
Yeah. It's kind of bizarre.
You get into that twilight zone where, I'm doing this because I really love it and I really want to have an impact, etc. But at some point, it's just no longer believable because when money gets involved, look, money and happiness in your personal life trumps your warm, fuzzy feelings of what you want to do for the hobby. People will look to advance themselves under the guise of, I'm doing this for the hobby. Are you, though? Are you really? Because I don't see anything you're not doing anything that isn't benefiting you or your store or your sales or whatever we're going to talk about. Even me, I can't stop making YouTube videos. I have to keep doing it in order to pay for all the things that I'm doing.
So what's your game plan? If you had to quit YouTube tomorrow, or if everyone said, cancel Joey.
Yeah.
I mean, what would your...
I'd retire.
I mean, you're set up to do that, or you feel like you could do that, you just kind of...
I mean, now the legal stuff is done. Yeah, I mean, I'm set up for the rest of my life, for the remainder. I'm never going to work for anybody else again in my life, ever.
So that's a beautiful place to get to. I mean, most people don't get there, but
I still do it because I still want a hobby. I still want to do this sort of thing. I'm not going to pay it. So the new aquarium gallery.
Yeah,
the new aquarium gallery is going to cost around $8,000 a month before I open the doors, before I feed fish.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Before I have maintenance equipment, before I pay wages. It's $8,000 a month for rent, power, water, that sort of thing. Keep the lights on type of thing. That has to come from somewhere. Yeah. I'm not Mother Teresa over here. I'm not trying to like go broke so you can see fish. That's not what I'm trying to do. It has to break even in some way, shape, or form. So of YouTube course. And admin or admissions and that sort of thing. It all has to. It all name has a fish
$5,000.
But I mean, when I went viral on YouTube, you don't get to be the #1 trending video on YouTube and not make more money than what you know what to do with.
Sure.
But when people think I make more money or I make so much money, it goes by views, not subscribers. Right. There's so many channels out there that get more video views than I do right now in terms of aquariums and stuff.
Well, and that's what I'm so incredibly thankful. And I haven't said this yet during this live stream, but thank you guys. I see your super chats, I see them, I do, and I appreciate that. But what I really appreciate is that, however many subscribers I have, however many videos, I have 700 and some videos now. But the average watch time is like 14 minutes for me, which for YouTube, it's like 3 minutes for content in general.
No. Mine's pretty high.
And yeah, that's great. And
yeah, I guess it depends. At one point on YouTube, you had to make 3-minute videos. You had to make 3-minute, then it changed to 5-minute videos.
Yeah, true.
And then it went to 10-minute. Now it's 8-minute. And do you know why it changes?
Ad
Do you know why it was? Ads.
Yeah.
So at 10 minutes, you could have. So everybody had to make that 10-minute and 1-second video.
Yep.
Just to be safe, so you can have a video before, in the middle, and after. And then YouTube changed it to 8 minutes. And then YouTube says if you make an 8-minute video, you can put as many ads in it as you want.
I know. I don't put any ads in any of my videos. I did when I was first monetized, and then I was like, no.
What do you think YouTube's going to want to promote?
I know.
Dustin tried to demonetize his own channel years ago, and I was like, look,
I know.
I was like, I know that you feel ads take away from your channel, but YouTube's not going to promote your videos if they're not making no money off them. They'll make indirect ad revenue from ads on the side and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they if you put ads in your video, they're more prone, and that's just facts. So I don't know why you're not putting what?
I know these things. I mean,
why don't you have ads in your videos? I would know. I have YouTube Premium or whatever it's called, like YouTube Red, or I don't know what it was.
I allow ads to
monetize your channel. Everybody else does. It's normal.
No. I have an ad in between videos.
You know what I don't like? Paying for cable, and then I gotta sit there and watch YouTube ads or you watch commercials.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't it blow your mind that model?
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to me, it's because I don't like ads when I sit there and watch. I mean, I understand them. Now that I'm a creator, I happily watch ads on other creators' channels. Yeah. But that being said, when I wasn't, I didn't get it, and I felt like it was being greedy, and I don't want to turn people off with that. So I scaled it down to running one pre-roll ad, and that's
you're doing that. That's just you fucking trying to be a hero. Put the ads in it. Don't worry about it. That's what you wanting to stand out and be like, I don't need it. I know why you're doing it. I've been doing this for a long time. Everybody got ads. Just put the ads back in and you'll make more money. You'll be able to do more things for the viewers that you make these videos for. Period. Stay true to yourself. You got a good thing going, but you will need to be financed in some way. Do you have a job outside of this, or do you do YouTube full time?
I'm just now doing YouTube full time. Just
when did you start?
Now. I mean, recently, very recently.
Okay. So
if I still take on freelance graphic design jobs as they're needed, basically.
Because you have no choice. You have to pay your bills. You got to pay rent. You got to buy food.
Right. Seattle's
you got to, toilet paper, etc.
Yeah.
But I mean, put the ads back in, you'll effectively probably double your revenue. I don't know why you wouldn't. Everybody does it. You have to have the ads in there for the creator to buy that better camera, to be able to have the time to do certain things. And
sure.
to all I can say is, the only advice I'll give you, because everybody's a full-time YouTuber now, the only advice that I can give you is this is not forever.
No. And that's what's in my head too, is I'm doing this. Either you'll make it viral and you can save money and invest wisely or make choices wisely. And that's very, very rare. That's not going to be me, I don't think. But for me, I'm used to living as whatever you want to call it, starving artist. You know, I've spent 15 years.
Oh, it's your own fault. You're self-punishing because you want to be doing this. What's that signaling shit that I said? The
virtue
signaling. That's all you're doing.
But
and I know it sucks to hear this, but it's true.
No,
because I know what it was like. Because I would be like, oh, that guy got ads in the middle of his videos, and I don't. What a sucker! What a guy! What a guy only doing it for the money. I want my viewers to know that I'm doing it because I really like it. So I'm only going to put ads behind and in front. Like, it's such bullshit. Put the ads in. Everybody got them. You're going to generate more revenue. YouTube's going to be more likely to promote you. And if people can't wait 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds for an ad to finish watching, then improve your content.
True. Yeah, the editing, you know, the way you can hang on to a thought.
You got to. You have no choice. And for the average person watching that just got into the hobby, just wants to see fish and just wants to that, etc., whatever it might be. Well, that is like, oh, you're only doing this. Go to work for free. Go to work for free.
Right. Yeah.
Shovel everybody's driveway during the winter for free every time it snows. For free. Yeah. Do everything for free moving forward. And when your kids are hungry, just be like, well, here's some free air.
Yeah.
Feed them that. You can't do everything for free. Everything comes at a cost. And if you're actually talented and you're actually good at something, you should be paid for it and compensated for it. That's why when you get a job and the training takes place and they put you in this position, they compensate you with monetary rewards because you're fulfilling a certain niche that they require done.
You know, I think it's interesting though, in that I feel like I've been fortunate though that people have taken care of. I ask them, what do you guys want? What kind of ads do you want to see or not see? And super chats come in when I haven't put ads on. You know what I mean? So to me, it felt like it evened out, even though as you scale that up, it doesn't. The ads are worth way more money. And I know that. Yeah. So it's like, do you want to beg people?
You also have to structure your business properly. If you're truly going to do this full time, and I know that you probably got a couple good checks and you did well for a couple good months, just know that ad revenue should be the icing on the cake. It should not be what you went full time for. You need a multitude of ad revenues. Now I'll give you
I have about 12 streams of revenue for the channel.
Yeah. And and the reason for that, and anybody listening, is this. Imagine, for example, you have a wagon wheel.
Sure.
And you're in the center, and all of the spokes are your ad revenue. All the way that passive revenue that are feeding your business. If you only had one and that spoke broke, like on YouTube, you're demonetized.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What happens? The wheel breaks. Everybody's screwed.
Yeah.
But if you have, like you said, you got 12, if one breaks, you don't notice it missing that bad.
Right.
So you just need to structure yourself properly so that you don't need to worry about sponsors, endorsements, product placements, affiliate links, ad revenue, of course, your own products and merch. And the list goes on and on and on. I think I got like 20 different ways you can make generate revenue off this. Yeah. But I've been full-time for 10 years or something. No, gosh, got to be 8-9 years now, full-time doing YouTube. Not just YouTube, but once you go full-time, you're now considered a professional aquarist.
Right. Well,
sounds nerdy, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, online you are, but not to any old heads in the hobby.
Oh, I don't care what they think of the old heads. I mean, when an old heads are like, oh yeah, oh, you're a YouTuber, are you? I was like, yes, and I generate more revenue off of what I do than your doctor.
Yeah,
I've reached more people in 1 month than your favorite magazine has in the past 3 years.
Or than
you keep laughing. And people made fun of me forever until they hear the numbers. These days it's bragging and, flexing or whatever. But the only way I could ever convince old heads was the numbers. The only way I could convince people from the old guard, like, for example, like Rachel, was numbers. And not necessarily numbers like money and stuff, but she would be like, oh, well, I do what I do. And I'm like, what about everybody else you're not reaching? I'm like, you're talking to like 100 people in a weekend,
right?
And I might talk to 1 million and reach 1 million with my message. That's the difference. And I think a lot of the organized hobby started taking the internet more seriously when they saw the crowds that were coming to see me speak, because at one point it's like 25 to 100 people, and then it was like they have to remove walls,
right,
like those drapes, for people to have enough room to see me. I'm like, this is why I come to these shows. I come to these shows first and foremost to thank the people that watch my videos and see them in person and be who they need me to be for that 30 seconds that they get that picture or whatever they want to do.
Sure.
But the bigger picture and why I'm there is to show the entire industry you have to take us seriously.
So why not walk away from YouTube? I mean, do you think you will walk away somewhat from YouTube once you got your gallery set up? I guess that's the question.
When I get bored, or when I don't want to do it anymore. Life's too short.
So it's still rewarding to you, though.
Well, there's a difference between being rewarding and this is all you know. I don't do it for the money anymore. I do it because I don't know what else I would do without it. This is a part of who I am and a part of my identity. Why would I walk away? I don't see a reason to walk away. I feel like now it's time for the next thing. I like to push the bar and see how far we could take things.
So how do we fix it then? If you know, you were kind of saying earlier, you feel like the future's dark, you know, and you're not going to walk away, and you got enough money. So what do we walk forward with in your mindset?
I think I let things go for too long out of fear of creating too much drama and backlash, and I didn't want to deal with it. I would have to make videos exposing people and stopping it and trying to get more people that actually know what they're doing and talking about into. It's too much for one person. It's going to take the entire community to open their eyes and realize things. You don't have to like me. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing when it comes to the aquarium hobby, even though I've made some flashy videos and some exciting things to reach millions of people. But I think that a lot of people just have ill intentions and that are in it specifically for money and don't care how they get it and how their company succeeds or how their store succeeds and stuff.
Well, you know, I kind of intentionally came into this hobby, and I decided once I made a YouTube channel, my merch, I actually donate. That's my artwork, and I will do personal artwork for money. You know, like if someone wants their fish illustrated or painted, I will
donate money too. I don't make videos about it. I don't need to.
No,
listen, you can do good things.
But where do you put your money? Like, where do you suggest we put our efforts? Is what I'm asking. Like, Piaba is or Running River, or
Piaba doesn't take me serious, so they never ever their name has never come out of my mouth. They've been disrespectful the times I've met them.
See, I've never met them, so I don't.
And I'm like, bro, do you have any clue what it would be like if we worked together?
Sure. Well, like Alex is, working with them from Tank Tested,
Well, yeah, because he kissed their asses.
Sure.
And I can't. I've talked to them and met them in person. I'm like, hey, I'd love to work with you guys. And they're always standoffish and, just judgmental and stuff. I'm like, because they had no clue who I was. And I was like, okay, if this is what you're like when you don't know somebody, I can't work with you. I'm not going to work with you. I think that like I can go down there right now and probably do the same thing to an extent. With the attention and with the support that I already have.
Sure. So, but that's what I'm asking is like, what should we do? Like, Joey, if we listen to you,
so you believe that,
what can we do?
You believe that what you're asking me is if I believe that the proper distribution and raising of aquarium fish will benefit the future of the hobby and the way it's going right now. I'm not worried about that. That's going to happen. Everybody's going to do that. What I'm worried about is the voice of the hobby and where it's going.
Okay. No, that's
the problem.
See, that's very important to clarify, though.
Because new people that come into the hobby don't remember renting a book, don't remember subscribing to a magazine. They don't remember how to go through the proper course of researching subjects. They just go to what they currently know in the era that we currently live in, which is social media, and they come here.
And so that's exact. I mean, thank you.
And they go on Facebook, and they go on Facebook groups. And I'm like, I got a group with over 100,000 people. I don't run it. I never really have. The moderators do with the rules I've created, but people want immediate answers right now.
Well, yeah,
What
90%
social
probably
media has
leave.
in itself created a world where people just want immediate answers. Here's my question. Somebody answer it right now, and I don't care who it is or what it is. That's the answer I need. And even if they get correct information, they're just looking for the answer they want to hear. They don't want the correct information. They just want to hear what they want to hear.
Right.
And when it comes to YouTubers and people putting things on people on pedestals, and that is a ridiculous way of looking at things and thinking, because 90% of those people have literal no clue. Look, do you believe that YouTubers are saying things off the top of their head based on information and knowledge? Or is it more so?
But not most.
I mean, I freestyle everything and it's obvious, but they're rehearsed, they're Googled, they're scripted. That's who you want your information from? Like, they didn't even know the answer. They just knew how to make a good thumbnail and a title and edit some fancy stuff. That's where you're getting your information.
I guess I'm just what's the word? Too star-crossed. What's the word? Stars in my eyes or something, because when I sit and I talk with someone in my local club, we can talk for hours and neither of us have to look and reference anything.
Because it's different. It's different in person, because when you speak with somebody in person, you can get a real understanding of their actual background and knowledge.
Uh-huh.
But most people don't have access to that. So their interaction with people is on social media and stuff. I feel like I'm bashing YouTubers, and I'm probably doing it too much, but I feel like I'm probably like the wrong people are going to be offended. And I always have like people in mind when I'm talking like this.
No, and I understand that your world revolves around it to a degree that like it has blown your world into a new dimension. You know what I mean? Like the money, the influence, everything from it. Like that's why I want to talk to you. You are someone who transcended that bridge of it not existing when we were adolescents, when we were fucking around doing whatever in life. And then, you got to the hobby, you had a passion for it, and took you for a ride, or you took it for a ride. I don't know how you view that experience, but I mean, like MySpace used to be a thing. It's gone. No one knows about MySpace. Yeah. YouTube will move on to some degree. I mean, maybe not right away.
I don't know. I think it's
a pretty good format, but
I think the global pandemic super saturated it.
It did. And so I'm wondering what's next, is it TikTok? No, God, I hope not. 6-second videos on fish.
Similar to Vine. I mean,
yeah,
like
exactly.
you can make like 60-second videos on TikTok. I mean, I went on there a few times, and
I don't know enough about it, honestly, but
yeah, girls dance.
So
I'm there for the right reasons.
Yeah, well, you know what you're getting into, then apparently, So what your gallery clearly? I mean, do you care about? You said the conservation is less. You think that'll get worked out? The fisheries, the conservation, the supply chains. You have faith that.
I don't think anybody cares. I think that like the only time people care where a fish comes from is if you say wild caught or tank raised, because they automatically assume wild caught is like devastating a local wild population. When somebody's like gets upset about a fish being wild caught, they don't care where it came from or how it was collected or how responsible it was. They only care that they can finally be offended by something. Meanwhile, I'm like in the background, I'm like, bro, let me see a picture of your fish tank. And I've done this so many times. I'm like, did you know that fish is wild caught? Because it's certainly not being bred in captivity, especially in numbers able to sustain the hobby. So most people have no clue what they're upset about. They're just trying to be upset because that's a stance. Everybody wants to take a stance and draw a line in the sand. and that's part of who they are, and they're part of their internet identity at times. They've got to be for or against something. But I think a lot of the times when it comes to like wild caught versus captive raises, most people just don't know what they're talking about. Period.
It's something
so
we talk about.
If we didn't do responsibly collected wild caught fish, what would happen? We force those people that are responsibly collecting fish to move to deforestation, where they start cutting down the trees and they destroy entire ecosystems. They gotta feed their family.
Oh yeah, they'll do
but
gold mining.
people in rural wherever or downtown wherever, they don't care, because it's a different part of the world. They don't care that we're destroying the Amazon. They just care that I said wild caught, because I've got wild caught fish. I've got wild caught, plus I got captive bred.
Oh yeah, well,
and if I say wild caught, damn, it's like the internet caught on fire. It's like, whoa.
Really?
What's so bad? Well, sometimes at times, yeah. I'm like,
see,
what?
You've got a way different crowd than I have too, because you've got all these
bigger crowd.
Yeah, and you have all these intro people too, though. Like, they don't find me for some reason, and maybe that's a good thing, because I haven't had to be mad at anybody for this. Nobody's gone on a tangent on my channel about any of that stuff.
No, they do all the time. People find something to be offended
by. Sure. Well, at a big enough sampling size, I'm sure you get people mad about anything you can imagine. But to me, like, most fish come from the tropics. The tropics flood. The rivers spill over their banks, and then you get 90% of the fish, or however many, dying in mud puddles and becoming food and fertilizer. So unless, you have to work pretty hard to devastate some of those fisheries, like cardinal tetras or neon tetras, or
I don't think anybody's really getting neons from the wild. Cardinals are still being collected.
Cardinals are, neons are now Florida raised,
Yeah, some fish are, and then you look at the white clouds. Of course, they've recently discovered, and by recent, within like the last 5-10 years, white cloud minnows at one point were extinct in the wild.
Yeah, then Vietnamese ones came out.
Yeah. Then they rediscovered, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But because of the hobby, they're not listed as endangered. They're extinct in the wild, but they're not listed as extinct.
Right.
Because the hobby effectively reproduced them in numbers that they're no longer considered endangered or anything.
Sure. I mean, look at endlers or goodyeads or any of those things.
The list goes on and on and on about, about certain things. Most fish, go to extinct due to deforestation or overfishing and that sort of thing, exploitation, etc.
Yeah, or mining, and you put the mercury and the arsenic or battery acid, in the river, and it's no good. But I mean, if people aren't catching fish, they're going to be joining the mine. I mean, just yesterday in the Yanomamo Reserve down in Brazil, where we get a lot of fish from, off the Xingu River, they just shot, I think it was 14 Yanomamo tribes people got shot by the mining company, and there's no charges being pressed. They said it was self-defense because they shot
different laws.
Yeah. In any case, so last thoughts and words. I feel like we can't beat a dead horse, and I want to take up all your time. And I appreciate you coming on here. But can you? What's for your average hobbyist? What would you tell them to do? Would you tell them don't engage with YouTube? Go to the library. Do it the old school way. Would you tell them find the good YouTube? Would you tell them to do a little bit of both? I mean, what advice do you have to give, given whatever it is you believe about each?
Why the hell would I tell them to get off YouTube? No. Watch me and only me. I am the truth. No. Yeah. So the biggest piece of advice I can give to you while ensuring that you gather the proper information to ensure success for your own personal hobby and or whatever endeavors you're trying to do aquatic related, is to be skeptical of everything.
Sure.
Don't just listen to Alex. Don't just listen to Joey. Gather your information. The brightest minds on the planet don't go to one source. They gather information. I mean, take the average if you have to.
Sure.
And once you find your source of information, never trust it. Just continue to be skeptical. And, the lives of your animals depend on your ability to spend longer than 5 minutes researching. It's quite simple. However, also don't listen to people that are always like complaining and saying, don't listen to other people research. Just be skeptical. Be skeptical in general. Just research. I can assure you, especially when it comes to social media, that there's always some sort of undertone or some other reason why people are doing it, regardless of how big or small they are. So be skeptical. I've been making videos for so long that I can explain something with extreme confidence and articulate it in a way that anybody can understand, to the point where it's got to be true. But that doesn't mean it's true. So just be skeptical.
Well, and there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, You can meet someone with a glass bottom aquarium and a filter. You meet someone who has, a sump. You can meet someone who freaking just has plants. So
figure it out. Just be skeptical.
Yeah.
Learn, research, and understand that when it comes to YouTube, there's money involved. And it's everybody's best interest to get your attention and that sort of thing.
So, advice for me now. What do I do? You say sell out, but do what you want to do in that.
Why? How's that selling out?
Well, no. You said turn on the ads. Dude.
What's that?
Don't
how's that selling out? There it is.
Yeah. What?
You're scared of being called a sellout.
No, not really.
Yes, yes, you are, bro. You're not a sellout by doing what is. So if I go to a job and I'm like
losing people because they think I'm a sellout.
Why would they think
I'm not
you're
scared of being called a sellout?
It's a tough conversation to talk about ads and as a creator, because it's that dirty little secret type of thing. Like, they know there's ads in the videos, Alex. They know that they're there. And when they come to you, I guarantee they probably don't even notice it. And today is probably one of the first days where they recognize, like, hey, Alex, you can have ads. I read in the comments, like, people are like, Alex, turn your ads on. Didn't even know. Like, go back and read the live stream when we first started talking like this. All you're worried about is being called a sellout. So if you start doing Manscaped ads, that's a sellout. If you start doing, if you start talking about
or whatever,
like some sex toy website, that's a sellout.
They contacted me now. I was blown away by those companies contacting me.
Sell it out. Depends on how much they want.
Right.
I had a VPN.
Yeah.
I've got every
I'm sure you have everything,
and I'm like,
right?
If I'm going to sell out, well, wait a minute. What are you offering? I'm like, nah, not enough. So everybody will sell out. That's selling out. Look, staying within your niche, having a company sponsor you within your niche is not a sellout. I mean, like, do you like Metallica got accused of
with Napster and all that?
Yes, like, come on. That's like, there's certain things that's actually a sellout. And so here's what people love to do: apply generic terms to anybody, to anything they don't like. So, you're getting paid for what you do? Sell out. You created a really great title and thumbnail that applies to the video? Clickbait. Same old thing, bro. It doesn't mean you're a sellout because you're doing what everybody else is doing. And clickbait doesn't mean that you. So clickbait is, here's a girl in a bikini, but in the video it's about fish. That's clickbait. That's false and misleading. And that's not what the story is about. But if you make a sensational thumbnail and title that gets people to click, yet that's what the content is about. I make sensational thumbnails and titles all the time. Sure. I have no choice. I'm trying to survive.
Or what was really going on. Yeah.
That's not. I mean, clickbait is a term thrown around by people that's looking to just insult you for absolutely no reason. Oh, video was fire, but it was clickbait. Was it though? What's your definition of clickbait? Because it's been exaggerated and
it's gotten
and even you. I mean, you're even talking about being a sellout. Why? By putting ads. Like, bro, what's the definition of?
No,
I don't mean to keep calling you bro either. Just this is coming out.
No, it's all good.
What is your definition of sellout? Doing something that you want to typically do that's above and beyond your current niche. That is like the, I don't know, Webster textbook definition, and you're just making up sellout and you're holding yourself back. You're your biggest enemy. Put the ads in. Do what you have to do to accelerate your career and to be able to bring more of the content that you love creating to your viewers. Why would you hold yourself back? Why would you say, like, I would love to do this, but I can't because I don't have the money? You don't want to say it because it's embarrassing and humiliating, but
Sure.
that's the fact that that's what it is.
I feel like if I did have enough money, though, then I really wouldn't care about that. Like, I know most people aren't like that.
You're
most
not even giving yourself a chance. This is why I get this is the same type of thing that I had to have a conversation with myself when I wrote a book. I didn't want to write the book because I felt like a sellout. People are so scared to make money because of the fact that they'll be like, well, I don't want you to think I'm doing this for money. It's a double-edged sword. You have to make money to continue to do what you do, but you'll also have to deal with the people that says they only do it for money. Do you know how many people accuse me of only doing this for money?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It happens all the time. Every day I got to hear it. And I'm like, well, I don't get offended or upset because it's just simply not what happened and not the truth. That's not my course of events. 13 years ago, when I started making YouTube videos, I didn't make nothing for like 4 or 5 years, whatever it was. I didn't make nothing. I made pennies, literally. So I'm doing this for money all of a sudden. Man, as soon as they said you can put money in the middle of your videos years ago, I doubled my income. Why don't you want to double yours? By doing something everybody else is already doing that's already acceptable. It's not even that
I didn't know if it was acceptable to.
It's not that it's acceptable or it's taboo.
Things.
It doesn't matter who's watching. It's YouTube, and that's what comes with it. You want to watch this content for free, you get a couple little ads that you can skip usually. And look, Alex, I'm not trying to insult the viewers or say like you got to watch these ads. What I'm trying to do is elevate you. If you want to do this full time, if you want to be able to dedicate yourself to doing this, you have to be able to pay your bills, and you have to be able to buy that better camera and that software, and you have to be able to do this sort of thing. So just put the ads in. I don't know why this is a conversation. Everybody already does the ads. Alex, stop trying to be a fucking hero over there. Be like, hey, you know who cares, Alex? You. Nobody else cares that you don't have ads in the middle. Just you. Some people are like, hey, Alex, you know what? I appreciate it. Well, why didn't you say so before this conversation came up? Because you probably didn't even notice it. Just toss the ads in. Just be responsible. So for me, I'll do it a max every 5 to 7 minutes, something like that. What television did, that type of deal. You know, on my podcast, every 10 minutes I feel is acceptable. This video is going to be what?
Shit, we've been talking a long time. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. So for those people who don't know how we got into this, like we're already at like 2 hours. Joey literally was like, I got some time now, but I'm going to be busy as hell. So you want to talk now? Let's go. So we did not plan any of this clearly. This is the longest and the most I've ever talked to Joey. There's no behind the scenes like script to go off tonight. So
yeah, I'm not trying to say unfolded. Like make money. I'm not trying to like, I'm just saying.
Well, you are the best in this field, you know, I'd say
I dealt with this. I didn't want to have ads. I was worried about having ads and stuff, but like everybody got ads. Like, I don't even know why this is a conversation. YouTube's been around for like 15 years, 20 years. Like, why are we even talking about ads? Ads have been in every video you've ever watched, period. Why can't the creator get a little kickback to buy that better camera, to move to a nicer spot, to buy himself some better outfits or whatever's going to help you? The user ends up benefiting.
Yeah. To me, no matter what. To me, time is just money. You know, that's what I need more of is time to research, because it takes forever to do good videos with lots of research. You know, and so you're right. That will give me more. If that gives me more money, and that lets me research, because that's what I want to do. I don't want to be a YouTuber for life. I want to be learning for life.
Yeah. No,
I want to be playing with nature for life.
Yeah, I don't have to do this. I mean, anyways.
No. So yeah. So
we'll end it there, Alex. We'll wrap it up. But listen, listen. There's one thing I'll leave you a thought with. That girl that you claim is invented the aquarium hobby is wrong.
Who do you think it is?
It don't matter who I think it is who I know it is.
Okay.
It's a boy. And it was almost a decade prior to her. but it doesn't matter. It's not
what year.
important.
What year though?
I researched you right quick and I googled it right quick.
Yeah.
Just went through your channel. I was like, that is like Victorian era. No. That's a female too.
Jean Villepreux Power, 1831.
Let me check.
Who are you thinking of?
I don't got his name memorized, but I made a big deal about this when they started trying to do World Aquarium Day or something on Instagram. I was like, why don't you do it around the birth date or the death date of the person that actually invented the aquarium hobby? Or
she's the one who first published the word in English literature.
Aquarium.
She came up with the word aquarium in French.
Oh, I'll have to read. Well, it's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. I have
everything. Yeah, no, you called me out. Come on, let's talk about it.
I gotta take a piss. That's why I'm trying to end this.
Go piss. You gotta tell me who invented
I will.
Tell me wrong.
I will.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen who are used to my videos, you know this is a different video. And this will be an interesting one. But we have Joey, and I didn't know when we'd get Joey. So I'm glad that we got him. And, thank you guys all for your comments and support. I'll go through and read the comments later. We're on StreamYard, so I can't really see most comments. I only see like some highlighted ones, like top chat or whatever. But now I'm interested in what's going to unfold here, because I do a lot of research for my videos. And 1831. Well, you could say Romans invented it. You could say lots of people invented it, but she coined the term.
I'm back.
You're back. All right.
Okay, so what prompted this was, I don't know if you've seen that stuff going on Instagram about like World Aquarium Day.
No.
And then they just
I'm not on Instagram very much. I'm sorry. I suck at that.
Well, I that was one of the things that I was like, I don't think so. They tried to pick a random day for World Aquarium Day. And they chose a specific date, but it was an influencer and a company. And they just picked a date that worked best for them, and they tried to get everybody talking. It was a marketing stunt. I was like, nah, I don't think so. If you're gonna choose a
well, you could choose lots of people, honestly. You could choose the ancient Egyptians. I just had a video about how they just found bones of Mormirids.
I don't care. No, it's not going to come down to this random company. And
who's the random company? What are you talking? Are you saying that I got it from the random company?
No. So stop being offended. No, this isn't about you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying that. That's
Alex, I'm not calling you out. I think that this could be an interesting conversation. Once I see his name, I'm just gonna Google. I'm pretty sure his name is.
Because there's a few guys that got credit after her too, that built, the first expos in the 1854, 1856 in Paris and in Berlin and in London, and then later.
I mean, if we want to go back, I mean, the Egyptians were keeping koi, or goldfish,
no, they weren't,
or whatever.
The Chinese were.
In China,
in the 1200 around 1200, they had the first good lines. But yeah, Mormirids, elephant nose fish, they just found out were being kept 4,500 years ago, which is crazy. They thought they were medicinal, probably because they make a slight buzz if you touch them.
Yeah, they have sonar to an extent.
Yeah.
Like a type of sonar. Origins of fish keeping. I forget his name, Albert or something weird like that.
You can't say that and then not know the name of the guy. Just
give me a second.
Job,
I
dude.
didn't remember. It's not my job. It's your job.
Your job is YouTube and spreading information, right? I thought you just said people.
So I gotta have the entire
the
hobby of 300 years memorized.
Yeah, well, if you're
gonna call me
memorized,
well, I didn't call you out. I had enough memorized to know that the girl was wrong from earlier.
Jean Villepreux Power is wrong. Do you even know who she is?
No.
She published all the first papers on studying animals in a tank. Before that, they didn't.
What year was that?
Well, she started in 1793, but 1831 was her big published book. And most of her work was lost when a ship sank, and it lost all of her papers. She had to publish under a French duke's name who she was married to, and because they wouldn't
What
let
was
the
the
woman.
French nuke's name?
What was this? Something
like
Powers. Something Powers.
Could have been something like that. Yeah. I mean, I'll look at. I guess.
But she was the head
look
of.
it up.
She was
this
on.
Was like 2 years ago. They were trying to make this World Aquarium Day, and they picked a date that was just random. And I was like, "This is bullshit," and I'm not celebrating it or getting behind it because they just picked a date that was great for marketing, and it wasn't
like spring or something or winter.
No, it was like March 20th or something. Just a random date.
That's when they're selling fish slows downs for him. That's why.
No, it had. Bro, it was Oliver Knott, and I'm friends with him. And I'm like, this is just a marketing stunt. And I'm not calling it World Aquarium. Name it after something that's important. Like who started the aquarium hobby, or who had the first public aquarium, or who brought it to the first public aquarium. Okay.
It was a miserable
that's probably
failure.
where I'm at. The first.
Yeah. They were all dead.
Who are you? Wait, where'd this go? Who are you talking about?
1854, the Royal Institution of the Royal Naturalist Institution had an expo in summer, and like half the fish died by the second day. 1856 in Paris, they actually built like a standing, like long-term aquarium that was a good success. And then the same summer, London also.
Yeah, it was like Pierre Carperet or something like however you pronounce that name.
Oh,
I think we're both on Google right now.
Sure.
No, I'm trying to find my post on Instagram. It won't load fast enough where I talk about World Aquarium Day and why it shouldn't be that. I was just like, it is what it is.
No, I understand what you're saying about people just making things up, but I'm like, Joey, are you just making things up right now?
Not making things up. I don't do that.
Okay.
You think I do?
Well, I don't know. You said you know who it is. It's not that woman, and then you said it was Victorian era, and then that was incorrect. So I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know what your point was.
You believe because that I was a little mixed up, that I'm making things up, like I'm lying?
No, I don't think you're lying, but I want to know what your point was if you didn't have the info.
I was just trying to be funny. I mean, I didn't
think
it'd be
all right.
I think you didn't think
then I took it too seriously and
bad,
ruined
bro.
it. Yeah.
I don't care. Delete this video
mad.
for all I care.
I'm not mad. It's all good.
Bro, it wasn't that serious. Yeah, well.
All right. Well,
it's tough to talk to people without egos getting involved and people getting hurt.
I'm not hurt. It's all good.
Right.
It's all good, man.
All right, bro.
Well,
once this video's done, delete it.
No. Why would I do that? No. People have already seen it. I never delete anything I do.
I don't know what you want me to do.
What?
Don't be a dick, bro. Just get rid of the video then. If like I don't understand like what the problem is. You're getting so butthurt. Like
what?
It was just a crack and a joke at the end, and make your commenters or viewers research it and go look at the old video and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was just a fun joke. Get all butthurt.
I'm not.
Like,
I'm not.
Accuse me of making shit up and stuff. God. Damn, this happens all the
time.
Will
we just end it now, Joey? Is that
can you delete this?
I'm not gonna delete this. No. We had a good talk. We talked for 2 hours. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I know you know way more about this, and we're on the cutting edge.
So when your guests come on at the spur of the moment, in the middle of their day, and they request that you do not upload this, you do it anyway. Just to be clear.
Wait, you're now requesting that I don't upload it?
I just asked you, and you refused.
I don't know if you're serious or not. So
I just don't think it's fair.
Wait, what's not fair?
That you don't upload it. I don't want to do this with you anymore. I think this is silly. I didn't realize you were gonna be emotional over this. And
what? Will
you be able to not upload this for me, please?
No, Joey, I won't do that. If
there
was no problem until you got to this point.
Want the views more so than anything.
I don't care about the views for you about then that. I wanted to talk to you about.
Why didn't you remove it? That's disrespectful, bro. That's just silly.
I'm going to end it here because apparently we're having a breakdown.
No
Most people probably won't make it to the end of this, I'm guessing.
There's not apparently, and this is exactly what people would want to watch. But
okay, well then let's end it because I don't.
I didn't expect you to get upset. I didn't think that you thought I was just cracking a joke. I mean, I could.
People can judge it for what it is. I'm not upset. I'm not upset with you. I am very grateful that you've taken the time to speak to me today.
I asked you not to air this, and you're gonna.
But why would I not air? I don't understand why.
Because I'm asking you.
But why?
Because I just did it at spare of the moment. I don't feel comfortable with this going live. You'll do it anyway?
I just don't understand. I mean, do we need to talk about this not live? I mean, we're live, obviously. There's 200 people watching.
I've never talked to you in my life. I trusted you. I seen the message and I was like, yeah, I guess we could do live. And I come live and for 2 hours we talk, and at the end you get all butthurt and accuse me of making things up, and that's not fair. I mean, Jesus. All right, so you're not going to delete it? You're going to upload?
It's live right now. We're live. There's people in the chat.
Okay.
I mean, they've already seen it. I can't do anything. I mean, we did it live.
That's right, but you don't have to upload it, right?
No, yeah, I could not upload it.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
And you would, okay, all right. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. We can talk after this off camera if you want, or you can tell me.
You just said you're not gonna upload it. So
I didn't say that. I said I could do that, but I don't understand what the problem is. I'm not emotional. You're the one who's very emotional right now, Joey. And
I'm not emotional.
And I don't know why you wouldn't want it. Why you wouldn't want it up?
I just didn't expect you to get butthurt. Now you've like just so disrespectful, and I'm like, bro, I feel like I've given you 2 hours of my life. I can never get back. We talked about some stuff, and now now your colors are coming out. Like you want to upload the video instead of respecting your guests' wishes. Like your viewers already got to see this and got to watch this. Just delete the video. We'll do it another time or something. Well, I'll probably never do another video with you. Catch me off guard like this. I didn't know it would be like this, but
wow. Okay.
Just don't upload it. I mean,
all right.
Imagine that. Like I'm asking you. I've asked you.
Can we still get along then? I mean, because
I get along with everybody, but I mean,
so you want me to delete this because you feel like you said something that you wouldn't want shown? I don't understand. You're saying it's because I got mad and butthurt. So if it's on me, then I mean, I'm not butthurt. So there's something on your end you don't want shown, right? And if that's the key, if that's what's up, then yeah, then we won't show it if that's the bottom line.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, every time I do this with creators,
let's delete it then.
This is what happens. It's all about views and attention.
We're gonna delete it after this live stream. We'll delete it. But thanks for your time. It was 2 hours, and I do appreciate it. Would you want it trimmed, like if we did an hour and a half of it or something? And I would send you a message.
I'd prefer that it wasn't uploaded.
Okay.
You know, Alex, when somebody says they don't want something or their recording uploaded or anything, you technically need to you kind of have to sometimes respect that sort of thing.
No, I don't, because you said, let's do it live. I do this all the time. I can do it live, no problem. I'm so used to this.
That's not what I said, but all right. Let me check right quick.
Right?
Said, doesn't matter to me. However you want. I have done live streams for a long time. I'm not nervous. That wasn't said, Alex. And these sorts of conversations don't need to be had live. However, when a guest does request that something doesn't get uploaded, I think that for the future of your channel and to gain the trust of somebody that's coming on and going live with you, I feel like you should kind of respect their wishes. I mean, if that's like if I went live with you and you're like, you know what, I don't really feel comfortable with that, I wouldn't upload it. I would delete it. It's just how things go.
I don't think you give a shit about me, what I would do. Honestly, right now, Joey, I think this is manipulative. I'll get rid of the ending if you want, because this is a weird thing to have on here and I don't know what to say to you. But I still look up to you for many reasons and think you are an authoritative.
Alex, how is
source on a lot of things, and I think we had a good
you're in control
conversation
right
up till
now,
now.
Alex, because it's your stream and whatnot. But how is it manipulative? Because I don't like. I thought I was having a conversation with a like-minded person that appreciated me, but it clearly had undertones of how you feel about me.
Until just the end, right?
I guess.
Were you having problems before?
I never had any issues. I still don't have any issues. This is like a clear reason why I don't do these types of videos with people. Alex, this wasn't supposed to go this way. I truly trusted you, and I had faith in you and whatnot. And
it's not my problem that you don't about faith and whatnot. Okay, so
I don't understand why you keep using those terms that are so insulting. It's not my.
I'm gonna end this turn. This. Everybody's seen what's transpired right now.
What is transpired?
And maybe I'll decide to not upload it then, because it's weird at the end here anyways. So it's not, no one's gaining anything from this. So let's just call it a night. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I'm assuming you won't talk to me again. So
of course
goodbye and take care.
I'm still here, Alex. I can still talk to you. You can end the live stream and we can continue to talk.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do that then.
I think that the ending was incredibly unfair. And I think we could do it again at some point, but I don't feel like it's not fair for that type of thing to be uploaded against, I just don't think it's
Wait,
fair.
but what did I do that's not fair to you? You have 1 million followers. You just said you know so much about things. I mean, we just had a comment, and I don't understand. What am I doing?
Say that again. Sorry, it's cutting in and out there. I'll fix this. So I have 1 million followers and I know so much about things?
Yeah, like you were just saying that, people don't reference things and stuff like that, and that you've put in the time, and I believe it. You have. So what I don't understand what happened. That
seems as though you have something against me.
It's just in your, I don't know. I don't.
Well, you keep saying things like, "Oh, you know so much," or "You have 1 million followers." I didn't say that, Alex. Let's just be fair here. There's clearly a breakdown of communication here.
Yes,
miscommunication. Look, maybe you're having a bad day. Maybe I'm having a bad. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I rubbed you. Maybe I rubbed you the wrong way by calling. I didn't mean to do. I thought I was being funny. I didn't mean to insult you or call you out in front of your viewership. And I know that you want to take it seriously because you do your research and stuff. I didn't mean to offend you in any way. It was more of a joke. I thought it was funny. That's all it was. I wasn't meaning to hurt your feelings in any way whatsoever.
We're good right now, man.
But I just also don't feel like.
But you don't like the way that ended, so we'd rather not have that out, right?
That's not fair. I don't feel like it's fair to you, Alex.
Sure, yeah, but the rest of the chat went well, right? We're good. I mean, let's just sign off now because we're not helping anyone. So I'm gonna end the stream and we'll keep chatting for a minute. You guys, thank you so much.
This is still live?
Yes.
I thought you said it was ended live.
No, you can see the comments scrolling, can't you?
Oh, no, I wasn't paying attention. I thought I was just having a private conversation with you.